Thank you. Firstly, it's good to see such a good turnout tonight and the support from the community. The first thing I bring you is a message of support from the staff at Rayside Junior down in Brantley. I was at an academies meeting there tonight. They're just about to start the process that you've already been going through. And the way that you've dealt with this and the support of the community and the staff has given them inspiration to have the same fight down in Rayside as well. So I bring their support. The first people I want to thank is the staff and the reps at the school. They're the ones that have stood there on the front line, the ones that have given up their day's pay, the ones that have walked out to try and save the school. And an equal thank you to the community as well. Because without you and without your support, we cannot win this fight. I knew when I was going to come today that we listened to all the speakers and there would be very little positive said about Academy, so I spent an awful lot of time trying to find something positive to tell you tonight about Academies. Unfortunately, I failed. You've already had the up-to-date information. Becoming an academy does not mean you have a successful school. So you have to ask yourself the question, why do they want to do this? And it's quite clear, this is simply a political agenda. What they're trying to do is take away your power, the power of the community to decide which direction a school takes. You should have the ability, if you're not happy with the standard of education of your children, to approach the governing body, to make your voice heard and to get those changes made at the school. You have that ability at the moment. The day this school becomes an academy, that ability is taken away from you. All that decision making is made by faceless people, and my colleague's absolutely right, probably somewhere down in London. So the accountability is on. The biggest problem with this as well is a one-way street. As soon as this decision is made, as soon as that decision is made, we are an academy. There is no going back. You can't look 6 months down the line and say, what an awful mistake this was, we're going to go back and become a community school. So we only have one opportunity to stop this, and that opportunity is now. My big issues is about my members within the school. My job is to protect those individuals. We see what happens when schools go to an academy. The first thing is the standards. That's going to be the main thing. Michael Gove is absolutely determined that the standards will improve at schools. But it won't be done to improve teaching. It won't be done to improve resources for your children. It'll be done by selection. And we've seen some of the ways that the schools did this. And there was recently an academy in Wolverhampton who were opening their doors. But they didn't want the children from that local area. They didn't want the children from that estate. So what they did, they put an advert in the Wolverhampton paper and said, anybody from outside this area that wants to come to our art school, will provide you with a free school uniform, and we'll provide you with a bus pass that you can use all week for free bus travel if you send your child here. And then they went through a selection process to decide which children they wanted, and they only want the brightest. They didn't want the children they have to actually work with to give them opportunity in life. They're not interested in that. Just an easy way of getting the standards up. And the only people that will suffer through that are your children and the children of this community. We cannot allow that to happen. And it's simply about priorities, isn't it? What becomes a priority? The priority for this school at the moment is the education of children, to give them the best start in life. What will become the priority in future is money. And it's simply profit making. What the government is allowing is people to come in and make profit out of education. And the way that they will do that is look at the terms and conditions of the staff within that school. We already see it happening in academies now. Only yesterday, after the tribunal in for a member who's now being told, you will work any hours between 6 AM and 10 PM, and you will work Saturday and Sundays, and you will not receive a penny more for doing that. That person's only got one choice, and that's to look for another job, and that's a good member of staff who's providing a good education to those children. That school will now lose that member. And of course we've also seen locally, we've seen in Birmingham, that when the school gets into trouble, although you've got this big group behind with loads of money that are taking profits off, as soon as an individual school gets into trouble, they don't pump that money back into that school. Suddenly that school is on its own, and we look at redundancies. We've seen an academy in the city that got rid of every single member of support staff, every single one made redundant. And that means every single class has one person less in there helping your children, supporting your children and educating your children. We can win this fight. If we stick together, we will win this fight. That school does not belong. That school does not belong to Birmingham City Council. It does not belong to the head teacher, and it does not belong to the governing body. That school belongs to you, and you will.